पुत्रा वयं शृण्वन्तु अमृतस्य पुत्रा वयं शृण्वन्तु अमृतस्य पुत्रा वयं शृण्वन्तु अमृतस्य पुत्रा वयं शृण्वन्तु.
Greetings everyone and a very warm welcome to all those who have joined this online session today to learn how to pronounce and chant Amma's 101 eight names, also called as Amma's Ashtotaram. Today is the first day of starting this weekend series, and let us begin this wonderful journey on an auspicious note, invoking our Amma and her blessings. I call upon Adira Ravi Prasad to please start by chanting the Dhyana Slokam of Amma.
ॐ ध्यायामो धवलावगुण्ठनवतीं तेजोमयीं नैष्टिकीं स्निग्धापाङ्गविलोकिनीं भगवतीं मन्दस्मितश्रीमुखीं वात्सल्यामृतवर्षिणीं सुमधुरं सङ्कीर्तनालापिनीं श्यामाङ्गीं मधुसिक्तसूक्तिम् अमृतानन्दात्मिकाम् ईश्वरी.
Thank you, Adira, for that wonderful, soulful rending. Now, after praying to Amma, we now call upon Lord Ganesha. So let us pray to Lord Ganesha, who is the remover of all obstacles. And for that, I call upon Anjana Ravi Prasad to render it.
ॐ वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा.
Thank you, Anjana, for the divine invocation. And so now let me quickly introduce today's main speaker who will be leading us through this online weekend series. Brahmachari Mokshamrita. Mokshamrita ji is Amma's monastic disciple and has been with Amma for the last 20 years. Namashivaya Swamiji. He loves to disseminate the wisdom of Amma's teaching and Indian scriptures such as Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Ramayana, etc. He has been teaching yoga and meditation for almost 18 years now in various multinationals, Indian Armed Forces, Indian Police Forces, and so on. A computer science engineer by profession and background, he is also the national coordinator of Ayud, the youth wing of Mata Amritanandamayi Math. Over the past 20 years, he has traveled across the length and breadth of India and conducted several youth camps to instill the sense of Dharma in today's youth. He has been an invited speaker to prestigious platforms such as TEDx and also in many reputed schools and colleges across India, where he has addressed more than 1 lakh students. Please join me in welcoming Mokshamrita ji to this online series. Namaste, Swamiji. On behalf of all attendees, let me thank you for conducting these long-awaited sessions to learn how to correctly pronounce and chant Amma's 101 eight names. Thank you, Swamiji, for this endeavor. For quick announcements before we start, Swamiji, we have a few announcements here. We recommend participants, we recommend that you join either on WhatsApp channel or Telegram channel so that we can send you updates directly without any delay. Your name and number are completely confidential on these channels. Links to join these channels have already been sent to you by email a few days back. We will also be sharing these links today on our chat, on our Zoom chat. All the sessions will subsequently be added to our YouTube channel also, and link to these videos will be sent to you by WhatsApp and Telegram channels. So do join on these channels if you want to get those YouTube. There's a small note. There is no fee for this attending this online session, but donations are welcome, but they are not mandatory either. And also the link to subscription to the channel will also be put on the Zoom. So without any further delay, let us start today's session. Swamiji, over to you, Mokshamrita.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Molly, for that wonderful introduction. And I would also like to thank the chanting people. It was really, really nice to hear that. Thank you so much. And of course, a big thanks to all the people who have joined today. Let's start. Om Amriteshwariyai Namah. Om Amriteshwariyai Namah. Om Amriteshwariyai Namah. My salutations to our most beloved Guru, our mother, Amma, and my salutations to all of you who have joined today for this weekend series of learning how to pronounce, chant Amma's 108 names, Amma's Ashtotaram. I will quickly give a very, very brief introduction today before we get into the real nitty-gritties of chanting and pronouncing. And today being the first day, we may not have enough time for Q&A, but we will still have it. But we will see, because we don't want to extend it too much. But I am open. If you people are open, I am open to stay even a little longer, depending on your availability. So this all started about 2-3 years back when some of the devotees, Amma's devotees, had asked me whether we can do such a session. But I just could not get enough time. And somehow with Amma's grace, now we have been able to do this session today. When I was looking at the registrations, I was really fascinated to see that we have received registrations from all across the globe, not just India. Even though my purpose was initially just to cater to a few of these devotees who had asked me, and most of them were in India. But I see registrations from Germany, France, Switzerland, America, of course, and so many other countries. So I think Amma's family is really global, and it's really nice to be part of such a gathering. And I hope and pray that this weekend series will prove to be very, very beneficial to all of you. We are also recording these sessions, but the link of these recordings will be put subsequently, not immediately. And we request you to be part of one of our channels, either on Telegram or WhatsApp, so that we can send you those links. And I might even send some supplementary material also on those channels, so that you can really learn the chanting and pronunciation well. So this whole course which we have designed, the main objective is, of course, to help you learn the correct pronunciation and how to recite those mantras with ease and confidence. But of course, like any other thing, perfection will take time. So please do not get worried about it if you're not able to pronounce the way I am pronouncing it. And even I am not 100% perfect in pronunciation. But still then, I think it will help all of us to understand that perfection takes time. So give yourself time. Don't be too harsh on yourself. If you're not able to do it immediately on the day I teach you, maybe in a week, maybe in 2 weeks, maybe in 3 weeks, slowly the perfection will come. And I must tell you, this chanting of the divine names, it has a lot of significance, especially in Kashmir Shaivism, which is one of the philosophical traditions of India. And it is also a non-dual tradition, but not exactly same as Shankaracharya's Advaita. I won't go into the details, but just to let you know that in Kashmir Shaivism, one of the methods which is used to realize the divinity is chanting. And it's very, very important part of the Shaktopaya. There are different upayas in Kashmir Shaivism. And one of them is Shaktopaya, where we take the blessing and the help of Divine Mother. And one of the very well renowned and very well um, uh, educated philosophers of Kashmir Shaivism, Abhinav Gupta, he has written a lot about the importance of chanting and chanting it perfectly. Perfectly. That is why I think as we go deeper into these sessions, we will realize the difference it makes to us at the physical level, at the mental level, when we chant all the mantras correctly. And of course, I have also received requests from people to take a session on Lalita Sahasranam, but that will take a lot of time. So I thought it is better we start with Amma's Ashtotram, because we are also closely connected to Amma. For us, Amma is the Devi herself. So I thought it will be good we start with the Amma's Ashtotram. हो सकता है आज कुछ लोग हिंदी भाषी भी हों जिनको अंग्रेजी में पूरा समझ ना आए, लेकिन इतने सारे लोग विभिन्न देशों से आज जुड़े हैं, तो इसलिए हिंदी में मेरे लिए बात करना शायद ठीक नहीं रहेगा। तो इसलिए मैं अधिकतर अंग्रेजी में ही बोलूंगा, लेकिन सेशन के अंत में जब हमारे प्रश्नोत्तरी का समय आएगा तो आप मुझसे प्रश्न पूछ सकते हैं, हिंदी में भी पूछ सकते हैं, और मैं पूरा पूरा प्रयास करूंगा कि आपके प्रश्नों का उत्तर दे सकूं। So coming back to our topic, so Abhinava Gupta in Kashmir Shaivism, he says that the chanting is very, very important part of Shaktopaya. And this is part of something called Shuddha Vikalpa. Shuddha Vikalpa is basically a pure thought that I am limitless Shiva, the non-dual Shiva, right? So for that, this Shuddha Vikalpa is used. Shuddha Vikalpa is very, very important for that. And Shuddha Vikalpa has three parts. This practice has three parts. One of them is Mantra Shakti. Mantra Shakti, the power of the mantras. Then the second part is the bhavana, or you can say meditation on those mantras, which is finally followed by Shuddha Vidya, which means pure knowledge or enlightenment. This bhavana is very important while we do the chanting. So chanting should not be just mechanical, should not be just utterances. The bhavana is also a very important part of the chanting. And Amma lays a lot of emphasis on bhavana, the meditation, on that Ishta Devata whose mantras are being recited. So in case of Amma's Ashtotram, since it is Amma's 108 names, each mantra, while we chant, the bhavana or the meditation should be on the resplendent form of Amma. Now, as far as the chanting as a science is concerned, when we chant, we are basically uttering names. And names are nothing but combination of letters. According to Kashmir Shaivism and many other traditions also, these letters are nothing but Divine Mother herself. Because Divine Mother pervades all the names and forms in this universe. language, any language, not just Sanskrit language, any language allows us to experience those forms. So names and forms actually go together. When we think also, there is actually a language which we use mentally in our head. We cannot think without a language. So in this science of chanting, language is given a lot of emphasis. Language is not at all considered to be ordinary thing. Language is the most extraordinary thing, in fact. And there's a lot of interconnection between language and universe. When I say language, I mean sound, name. These are all synonyms. We think usually that language is ordinary. But from the perspective of one who is seriously taking up this practice of chanting, language is to be considered divine. In fact, the whole practice of mantra chanting is based on this very principle that language is divine. So people who are chanting, for them to get maximum benefit, they have to be very, very careful of how they use their language. This usually people don't care about. They think they can chant and then for the rest of the day they can speak whatever they want. No, we have to be very careful with what words are uttered from our mouth. Language has to be taken very seriously. As much as possible, we have to be soft-spoken. Like, Saint Kabir used to say, one of the very famous saints in India, ऐसी बानी बोलिए मन का आपा खोए औरों को शीतल करे आप भी शीतल होए. He says that speak so gently that the one who's listening to you should feel very, very happy, blissful. Not only should it make you pure, it should also make the other person who's listening to you pure. That purity has to be in your words, in your utterances, every utterance. Only then the Ishtadevata or the Devi blesses you when you chant. So language is considered very mystical in this tradition. It's not considered ordinary. Imagine if there was no language, how would anybody communicate? How would I communicate? How would we be doing this session today? How would you think if there was no language? But the same language can also bind you to the samsara. And the same language, same Devi, can free you from the samsara, this cycle of birth and death. So as we repeat these mantras, one thing which I told you, bhavana is very important. And for the rest of the day, how you conduct yourself, how you speak, everything is very, very important. Now coming to bhavana, the meditation part. Some people feel that bhavana is imagination. Bhavana is not imagination. Bhavana is reinforcing something that is already existing but not evident to the practitioner. Suppose we are doing a bhavana on Devi or Amma, seeing her form. Now, of course, we may think that it is just an imagination. But if we have that kind of attitude, it will not help us deeply. So bhavna means you are convincing yourself that the devata or Amma is right now here in front of you. Just that you're not able to see her with your eyes, with your senses. That is bhavna. And each mantra should be accompanied by that bhavana, so that that Shuddha Vikalpa practice can really, really do its wonders. Of course, in the beginning, it may not be so easy, because mind, as usual, the monkey mind will try to go here and there. And we keep on practicing, practicing, practicing. Slowly, that perfection comes. That is what is called Siddhi, Mantra Siddhi. When you become perfect in the mantra which you are chanting. Okay, now in these sessions, I will try my best to help you pronounce the sounds perfectly, to understand the meaning also, and how to chant them, with what speed. The pronunciation in Sanskrit is called Uchcharana. Uchcharana. And if you break that word into its components, it means uplifting movement. Uplifting movement. Ut-charana. Uplifting movement. Something that uplifts you. Uchcharana. So pronunciation has to be very, very perfect. Should be, ideally. Now, of course, I know many people who are not from the Indian origin or Indian background. They may find it very difficult to pronounce these Sanskrit mantras perfectly. So they should not feel dejected. They should not feel afraid. What if we chant wrongly? Because the divinity, the supreme divinity, is well aware of our limitations. All we need to do is to make sure that whatever best we can, we are doing that. We are giving our best into it. We are not leaving any stone unturned. That is what matters the most. So please don't feel afraid or dejected in case you're not able to chant properly, but do put in efforts. With every weekend, we are going to do this 45-minute session. And I will give you some homework every day on these weekends. And I hope that you will take time to yourself take interest and do that homework. It won't be much, but you still need to do it yourself if you want to get the maximum benefit out of this whole session. In olden times, when we had Gurukulas in India, where disciples used to go and live with the Guru, most of the teaching used to happen in an oral tradition. There were no notebooks, there were no phones, there were no, what do you call them? Remembering cards, which people use during exams. I forgot the name. So there were none of those things. Guru just used to say, and disciples used to repeat that. And this was done multiple times till they became perfect and till they remembered everything. In fact, there used to be people who remembered entire Vedas, and it's not just a small thing. Vedas are voluminous. But that is how our oral tradition has been there. So in the chanting, in case of chanting also, the best way to practice is by orally repeating what you have heard. Orally, loudly. Okay. Now coming to the Sanskrit language itself. Just a brief, some points I'll tell you. Sanskrit, the word Sanskrit, of course, it's the name of the language, but what does it mean? It means samyak kritam iti samskritam, means that which is done or formed with refinement, with perfection. That is Sanskrit. Samyak kritam. So Sanskrit carries the meaning of action with integrity of thought, word, and deed. That is why we say Sanskritam is refined, perfected, and sanctified. We even call it God's language. And when you hear these chantings, when you hear these mantras, as we will do some of them today also, you have to listen very deeply, not just hear, listen. Listen with your heart. Listen very, very deeply, pay minute attention to each utterance. And if you do that, it will benefit you immensely. The Sanskrit alphabets, they're called Aksharamala. Aksharamala. And, there used to be a whole set of ancillary texts which were taught to the students in Gurukulas to understand how to, do proper justice to this entire language of Sanskrit. So, out of the ancillary texts, we used to have 6 limbs, you can say, 6 types of ancillary texts called Vedangas. So, in that, we used to have Shiksha, Vyakarana, Chandas, and Nirukta. And in that, this whole study and expression of Sanskrit was taken up very seriously. So each letter in the Sanskrit alphabet is called Akshara. Akshara, which means indestructible or immutable. Indestructible or immutable. Akshara. And it is very, very interesting to see if you compare Sanskrit to other languages. In Sanskrit, each letter represents only one sound. This is very different from English. English, the same letter can be used to represent multiple sounds, but that is not the case with Sanskrit. For example, take the English word ball. How do you spell ball? B-A-L-L, ball. Take another English word, basket. B-A-S-K-E-T, basket. Take another English word, let's say base, B-A-S-E. Now these 3 words, ball, basket, and base, they're all using the letter A. But the way A is being pronounced, the sound which is being used is not same. And you have to subtly understand this. Then only you will be able to get into the nitty-gritties of the chanting. And it's not easy, it's not difficult, rather. It's not at all difficult. If you pay little attention, you will see it. Ball, I am using A with the sound O, O. Basket, I'm using A with the sound A. Basket, A. Base, A. The sound is different, right? So each letter, however, in Sanskrit has a unique sound. Unique sound. You will not see a case anywhere in the entire literature of Sanskrit where the same letter has been used with two different sounds. And that is the beauty of Sanskritam. That is why it is a perfect language. In fact, there are articles written by very, very famous and very important people in their fields, especially in computer science, who have also emphasized why Sanskritam is a very, very important language. In fact, people are using it in computers also. I won't go into those details, but you can do your own reading just so that you understand the significance of this language. Okay, so now let me share one PowerPoint with you. Give me a moment. Great. Okay, so I will take the questions later. I see some people have raised some hands. I will take the questions later. Okay, now going to the next slide. I hope you will remember to join one of our channels. And the link to these channels, I think our team is sending you on the chat on Zoom also. And we have sent these links to you by email also. Okay, let me now, I hope you are able to see an image on your screen with a human skull.
Yes, Swamiji.
Okay, great. Okay, so here I will highlight some portions. You can see this portion called 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So in Sanskritam, they have identified and categorized letters into 5 categories. One is called the one, which represents the portion of the throat at the back. They are called guttural letters, or are called palatal, or uses palate. Okay, it uses palate. Then there is third one, which is called retroflex or murdhanya. Murdhanya. So this uses the front roof of the mouth. Front roof of the mouth. Third one. Then is the fourth one. Fourth one is called dental or dantya, which of course you would have understood. It is using the back of the upper front teeth. Upper front teeth. And then last one is called labial or osthya, which means the sounds that are produced using the lips. So these are the 5 kind of places which are used to create the Sanskrit sounds. Each of this place is called sthana. Sthana means place. So there are 5 sthanas, points of articulation in Sanskrit. 5 sthanas are there. Okay, this is just for your information so that you understand why we are putting so much emphasis on this pronunciation. So now when we are going to chant the mantras, we have to be very, very careful of how do we employ or how do we use the right sthana out of these 5? How do we use the right sthana to create a sound? Now, whether you are an Indian or whether you are an American or a Chinese or a Japanese or a French or a German, it doesn't matter. All of us have same mouth. It is not that God has given these 5 places only to Indians and not to other people. I hope not. So everybody has these places in their mouth, these sthanas. It's just that people who don't belong to Indian origin or might not know Sanskritam, they may not be using, they may not be acquainted or used to such sthanas. And that is why they find it difficult in the beginning. However, as I said initially also, when you practice 100%, definitely you will be able to chant just like any Sanskrit scholar can chant. And I can guarantee you this. Okay. All right. We'll go to the next slide. Now, we have 5 categories, which I told you already: guttural, palatal, retroflex, dental, and labial. And each of the letters in Sanskritam is categorized in those different categories. We will not go into these details, but just to give you a overview, right? Like, for example, here in the first row, you can see the guttural ones, which start at the back of your throat, right? You use the back of your throat. Ka, kha, ga, gha, nga, right? And then also you have ha. Then also you have a and a. These are vowels. The red column, these are vowels. So here, now if you see, I'm now going into the notation part, because many of you who do not understand the Sanskrit letters, who do not recognize Sanskrit letters, for you, I have kept a notation also. But which notation we are using, it's important to understand. There are different kinds of notations which are out there, which people use. The 3 important ones, which I am highlighting here today for your knowledge, one is called IAST, the other one is called iTrans, and then another one is called Velthui. Some people pronounce it as Velthuous, some say Velthui. Well, that is a side effect of English. If it was Sanskritam, we will not be having these confusions. So now let me come back to this. Okay. So you see here the letter or the vowel a in Sanskritam, the way it is represented in IST notation, iTrans notation, and Velthui notation is same. However, another one, a, which is a longer a, it is represented like this in IAST, but slightly differently in iTrans. There is a capital letter being used. And as Velthui or Velthuas, there is a double A, right? Because it's a different notation. And you can see for different letters, I have just put it so that you get a flavor of it. You get to understand that how these notations differ from each other. And you might see different kinds of notations used by different people. However, for the purpose of these sessions, I will be using IAST, the first one, which you can see here, IAST, because I think it is easier to understand and especially for beginners, and has least amount of confusion. So I have used IAST. Okay. And just for your information, IAST is basically, the full form is International Alphabet of Sanskrit Transliteration. International Alphabet of Sanskrit Transliteration. And this transliteration scheme, it allows the lossless romanization of Indic scripts. That is the beauty of this. And It emerged around 19th century, I think. I think Charles Trevelyan and William Jones, Monier and Monier Williams and other scholars, they had started it. Then the iTrance, the second one, which you see, that is an extension of Harvard Kyoto scheme, where you use capital letters. And it was developed as a part of iTrans software package. Then the third one, the Wealthy one, that is an ASCII transliteration scheme, which uses slightly different notation, like those double letters and all those, right? So that is a difference. And we will be using IAST for our these sessions, which we are going to do now. Okay. Let me go to the next slide now. So finally, we are on our first mantra. I think today, because we are just started and it's already about 21:45 or 44, which is 9:45. We are already 45 minutes into the session. I will not go beyond the first mantra today. I will stop after this one. We will do this first mantra so that we get initiated into it. The divine initiation can happen today. The auspicious initiation will happen today. And then tomorrow, we will be directly going into the second mantra onwards. And my plan is that every day, 45 minutes, 30 minutes will be devoted to the mantra chanting and pronunciation, in which we will do about 9 mantras. And then 15 minutes of question and answer session with you. Okay, so that all your doubts get clarified. So now let us come to this very first mantra. The first mantra, and I am highlighting the parts so that you understand what I am saying. You can see, you will be seeing a highlight now. Om, Om. In English, IAST notation, it will be represented with this, Om. Okay. The second part, Purna, Purna, which is represented like this in the IAST notation, Purna, Purna. Remember, this U sound has to be little more elongated, not Purna, Purna, little bit elongated. That is why you see on top of U, you see a bar, a horizontal bar. That means you need to elongate that sound. Okay. Then third part is Brahma, Brahma, Brahma. Not Brahma, not Brahma. Don't read it as Brahma, because that last has to be short, not long. If it was a long sound, then you would have seen a bar on top of the letter A. Since there is no bar, it has to be pronounced as Brahma, Brahma. Then the next part is Swarupinyai, Swarupinyai, Swaru. See the longer U, because there is a bar on top of the U. Swarupinyai, Swarupinyai. And the last part in this is Namah, 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 Namah. Now, many people, I've seen this, many people don't pronounce this part properly. And it's common to all mantras. In fact, Om and Namah are there in all the mantras. The way usually I've heard people pronouncing this last part is Namaha, or sometimes Nama, Nama, only Nama. There is no Ha at the end. Only Nama or Namaha. Some people even pronounce it as Namaha. which are all not correct. The right pronunciation is Namah. Namah. So there is a slight ha sound of H at the end. Okay. I will once again repeat this for you. Om, not Om. Don't say Om. I have seen many people, especially Westerners who are not from Indian origin, they say Om. It's not Om. 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 Purna. Purna. Brahma. Brahma. Swarupinyai. Swarupinyai. Namah. Namah. And what does it mean? It means salutations or namaskar to Amma, to her, who is complete manifestation of the absolute truth, which is also called Brahman. In Hindi, the meaning would be Purna Brahma Swarupini Amma ko Namaskar. Now, when you chant this is your homework for tomorrow. Just do this one mantra. Just this one mantra. But properly. And when you chant this, bhavana should be that Amma is right in front of you. You are visualizing her right in front of you. And then you do this mantra with bhavana and properly. It will help you if you have a Shruti box at home. And if you understand what Shruti means, it will give you even more depth in your chanting practice. And nowadays, many apps, mobile apps also on your mobile phone, they are available. And I can share some of them with you tomorrow, where you can, play these different scales, the Shruti, different Shrutis. And if you chant in tune with those scales, you feel much more depth in your practice. So now I'm going to play this only first mantra when it is played, or rather chanted, along with a Shruti box. The scale which is being used here is scale 2. Please listen to it carefully. And after I play this sound, I will request one of our team members to just confirm whether they are able to hear it after the sound is over. Om Purna Brahma Swarupinyai Namah. I hope you were able to hear.
Swamiji. Yes.
Okay. I'm going to play it a couple of more times, just so that you listen to it very deeply. Listen to it, internalize it. Just close your eyes for a moment. Just listen. Just listen. Om Purna Brahma Swarupinyai Namah. Once more. Om Purna Brahma Swarupinyai Namah. Om Purna Brahma Swarupinyai Namah. Okay. So I think that would have given you some perspective of what we are going to do for the rest of these sessions. And it is very important that try to maintain the continuity. Otherwise, you will lose the touch in between. We will not be able to promise that the recordings will be available immediately. It might take a month. It might take 20 days. We don't know. We will try in whatever time is available to the volunteers, but I'm not sure if I can give you a time frame. So it will be good if you are attending these sessions, and most importantly, make sure the WhatsApp and the Telegram channels. That is very, very important, so that you can get all our updates in time. And I will see, maybe before we even give you the recording of the entire video, maybe just the audio part we may be able to share with you on our channels. So either on WhatsApp or Telegram, if you join, you should be able to get our all the different recordings or some other material also. Okay. So I think we will stop here and take a couple of questions if there are any hand raises.
There are two questions on the Q&A, Swamiji. Is tomorrow at the same time from Colorado Satsang?
Okay.
And Deepak Udapudi, Namashivaya, long form of IAST, please.
Long form of?
IAST.
Yeah, IAST, as I said initially, it is called International Alphabet of Sanskrit Transliteration. International Alphabet of Sanskrit Transliteration. That is the name of that transliteration scheme. Any other questions?
No, tomorrow's a time. You didn't specify. Is
Yeah.
it the same time tomorrow?
Yes, yes. Tomorrow we'll be starting at the same time, 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time. And tomorrow we will be starting immediately from the second mantra. And I hope you will take time to listen to. I hope, I'm not sure if you have recorded what was. Maybe it may be a good idea, just for your quick reference. Maybe tomorrow onwards, when we do the chanting and when I play those small pieces of audio, you can even record on your own mobile phone, just the audio part, just the chanting part, and then you can practice on your own. And those of you who are on the channel, they will have an advantage that we will be sharing the audio recordings of the chanting on the channel. So you will be able to quickly get it. So if you have not joined the channel, please join the channel. So we'll start tomorrow. I think Veda has raised the hand.
There is one question from Amrita School of Biotechnology. The question is, can you please elaborate the origin of Ashtottaram in any of the class? The second question is from Devi Menon, Namashivaya.
We'll take
please
one by
let
one.
me know if
We'll
it
take
is
one by
okay
one.
to chant the one-not names after the mantra sadhana in early morning without doing any rituals. These are the two questions I could see.
Okay. So I think the first question was, what is the origin of Amma's Ashtottaram, right?
Yes.
Amma's Ashtottaram was, to the best of my knowledge, it was written by a well-known Sanskrit scholar in Kerala. His name was Otturi Namboodiripad. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the name correctly because it's a Malayali name. I may not be 100% correct in the pronunciation of that name, but I think it's called Otturu Namboodiripad or Otturi Namboodiripad, one of these. So he was the well-known Sanskrit scholar and also an ardent Amma devotee who had written these 108 names of Amma. What was the second question?
The second question is, please let me know if it is okay to chant the 108 names after the mantra sadhana in the early morning without doing any rituals.
Of course, 100%. You don't need to be dependent on rituals for chanting this, but of course, you make sure that, after you get up, you have done the basic things. For example, brushing your teeth. It's not considered very auspicious if you do chanting without brushing your teeth and, all those things. But things such as taking bath and all that, depending on your health and depending on the climatic conditions, if you're not able to take bath, it's okay. It's okay. But at least, brushing your teeth and freshening up yourself, and then you sit, it will give you much more concentration and focus also. But definitely, if you are doing it properly, you take bath, you do a little bit of yoga, and you sit in a very nice meditative posture with your back straight, and you also take the help of, let us say, a Shruti box, then the effect becomes little more deeper. However, the most important thing is the bhavana in this chanting. Pronunciation and bhavana both have to go hand in hand. Pronunciation, as much as possible, to the best of your ability, pronounce it rightly. And there should be a lot of bhavana, means you should be able to convince yourself mentally that the Ishtadevata or Amma, whose names you are chanting, is right in front of you.
Amaji, there are 3 more questions. The next one is from Veda. Are you going to comment the names too, or only the chanting?
Can you read that again, please?
Are you going to comment the names too, or only the chanting? The next classes, yeah.
Are you going to comment the names?
Yeah, that I also don't, not very clear what they.
Maybe they are trying to ask that whether we are going to talk about the meanings of the names. Yes,
Okay.
we are going to talk about the meanings of the names, but not too much in detail, because
Okay.
every name, it's very powerful and has a lot of background associated to it. So, like for example, the Purna Brahma Swarupinye Nama. If we have to really go into the depth of this, then I have to tell you the entire Advaita Vedanta of what Brahma means, what Brahman means, which may not be possible, but at least the basic things, the most important things, we will try to go through. And if you have further questions, then during the Q&A session at the end of each day, either you can try to ask your question during that, or you can email us on the same email by which you had got the link. You can email us with your question, and I will try my best to answer.
Swamiji, there's a question from Ursa. She says, Namah Shivaya. Where can we find the 108 names in a written format?
Oh, 108 names, very easy. I hope you can see me. So there is this book, small booklet, which is available in our ashram in Amritapuri, as well as I think in most of the branches. This one is written in the Sanskrit script, but there are equivalent booklets available in English and many other languages. So it is not very difficult to find one of this. If you are, of course, you have to know somebody who's in ashram if you don't have this, or you have to visit the ashram to get it. And I will find out. Maybe, and I should be able to tell you in the next session or the one after that, whether it can be found online. I think we have Amrita Bookstore online, and I will try to see if it is available online also, and I will try to provide you that link also.
The next question is from Shivesh. Namah Shivaya Swamiji. Can you also explain the pronunciation and meaning of the Dhyana Sloka recited before starting the Ashtotram in any of the sessions?
Yes, Shivesh, definitely we will do that. But I have purposefully kept Dhyana Shloka for the last session, because Dhyana Shloka, especially for people who are not from Indian origin, may be a little bit more challenging to pronounce. So I thought first going through 108 names, they will gain that confidence and that they will get very familiar with those letters and the sounds. And then it will be easier for us to go into the Dhyana Shloka. So definitely we'll do that, but we'll keep it for the very last session.
Swamiji, there are a few
And
comments
by the way,
regarding...
just one thing, sorry to interrupt you. My plan is to cover around 9 mantras in every session within half an hour period. And if possible, we can even go beyond that, but at least 9. So I'm hoping that in 5 to 6 weekends or maximum 7 weekends, we will be able to complete the whole thing. Yes, please. Next.
Swamiji, there are comments regarding the book. One of the person has written, it can be found on Amma app. Swami
Okay, great.
Ashtotaram is
Great.
available
That
in
is the
Layamritam.
information. That is the
Yeah.
information for everyone that Amma's Ashtotaram is available on the Amma app. Thanks
And also
to
available
whosoever said
on,
that.
yeah, and also available on Layamritam app.
Layamritam app. Yes. Layamritam is the app where you can get Amma's bhajans. So definitely. So either on Amma app or Layamritam app. And I will really appreciate if these two people can email us maybe the links to those apps. Maybe we can
Yes.
share with everybody next time on the
Yes,
Zoom
I
chat
have
also.
somebody, Jeevalata has sent the link and I put it on the chat so that
Okay,
everybody
great.
can see it.
Great. Great.
Yeah. So that's the end of the Q&A, I think. We don't
Okay.
have any further.
Okay. So every session, ultimately, the recording of this session, the whole video will be available to you. And as I said in the beginning, it may not be available immediately, but it will be available to you. So be on the channel, and we will try to make the audio recordings of each mantra available even before that, as early as possible, so that you can practice for that whole 1 week and be ready with your homework next time.
Swamiji,
Over to you.
yeah, Swamiji, Josie Harding has written, can we hear today's mantra again so we can record?
Oh, yeah. Why not? If you can be a little more patient with me, I will try to open.
ॐ पूर्णब्रह्मस्वरूपिण्यै नमः। ॐ पूर्णब्रह्मस्वरूपिण्यै नमः। ॐ पूर्णब्रह्मस्वरूपिण्यै नमः। ॐ पूर्णब्रह्मस्वरूपिण्यै नमः। ॐ पूर्णब्रह्मस्वरूपिण्यै नमः।
So
Thank you,
hope
Swamiji.
hope they have recorded it.
Yes. Thank you, Swamiji. That was indeed a very wonderful session. And, you know, we always chant this, but who knew the depth of it? You know, this is when we really now, tomorrow when I chant, my bhava and everything is going to be totally different. And I'm really thankful for having attended this, Swamiji. And I'm looking forward to more. I'm sure everybody who are the participants here are looking forward to the coming sessions. And it will be tomorrow, same time. And hopefully the link will be sent. I think we will use the same link, I think. Right?
Yes,
Swamiji?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. It will be the same link.
Same.
Thank you.
So, thank you, Swamiji, and looking forward to tomorrow's session.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Namaste.
तस्य पुत्रा वयं शृण्वन्तु